I think it all stems from from when I was in high school. It started in high school. Um, I had a terrible relationship with a boy. He'll be nameless. I won't say anything much about it other than it was verbally, mentally, and physically abusive. And, when you're in high school, you're very impressionable. And having that experience hit me when I was at my most vulnerable, it made me believe for a very long time that what he was saying to me was true. That I was ugly, that I was worthless, that I was fat, or whatever other things he was saying. And I started to believe that. And luckily, I was able to get out of that situation safely. Um, but that's not to say that I still don't suffer from the emotional scars that it left.
Now I'm gonna spawn you as a polar bear.
Sounds
All
good.
right, so what's been going on?
The past few years, I've been struggling really hard with depression, with anxiety, which I think a lot of college students unfortunately are today, especially right now. I was it's like second year of college. So I just graduated high school not too long, got into my second year of college, and was just starting to feel, I don't know, just feeling sad, feeling anxious about everything. And that's two totally different, polar opposite things, being sad and being high strung. At my lowest point, I had lost like 25 pounds because I just wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping. I just was a mess of who I normally am. And, people around me, I think, realized that something was wrong first before I did. When I did eventually ask for help or bring it to my mom's attention specifically, it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do, just sit there and tell her that I had been feeling sad and specifically, suicidal, or I just felt so hopeless. And, as difficult as that was, she kind of knew already. And that, I guess, that could have been just because she's my mom and she knows everything before I do sometimes. And something else that I've learned is that, especially struggling with depression, you don't have to have a reason to be sad. And that's something in the very beginning, it made me feel guilty. Like I'd be sitting there, all of a sudden just start crying or just feeling so down and blue, but I wouldn't have a reason. And I'd get mad at myself because I'd be like, you have everything, you have a loving family, you have a boyfriend, you have this great job right now, you have everything you need. Why are you sad? And I'd start beating myself up. I think I finally got to the point of acceptance because I had become so tired of searching for reasons. And one of the biggest wake up calls I had actually occurred this semester. Um, I've been hospitalized in the past for anxiety. Something that, at the time I thought was, it's as terrible as it sounds. I thought I was having a heart attack. You just can't catch your breath. You turn into a different person. You're in so much pain physically and mentally, and you don't know what's going on, and your only option is to go seek professional medical help. When you're having anxiety attacks, you feel like you're at death's door, but other people around you just see you as being dramatic. I didn't want to be depressed because I think, even if you don't have a mental illness, you think of somebody who does. So you might think, I don't want to be depressed. That's what Aunt so and so is. I don't want to be like her. I'm not as crazy as her. And that has been one of the hardest parts as well. So when I eventually get into a relationship with my current boyfriend, who I've been with for almost 3 years now, I start to feel like these old feelings are starting to creep back. I think to myself, well, what if this relationship ends up like the last one? What if what the last guy was saying was true? And what if this current guy thinks those things? And it starts to turn into this like head game within myself and back and forth between no, he was a liar, he was just mean to you, and well, maybe he was right, like the angel and the devil on your shoulder. I had never told anybody anything about my previous relationship, so now here I am with this new guy, and is he going to think less of me because my old boyfriend was abusive? Is he going to think that maybe what the old boyfriend was saying was true, that I was worthless, that I was ugly? And no matter what the current boyfriend says to me, if he says the opposite and says, you're not worthless, you're beautiful, you're whatever, it took me a long time to accept and even to believe what he was saying because I had heard from the past that I was the opposite. I was ugly, I was worthless. And that was one of the harder things. Even now, it still has, I struggle with that. Like, no matter what good things I hear from other people, it's like the traumatizing things that you've heard are always the things that are at the forefront in your mind. You hear them first before you hear the good things.
You think those scars ever go away, despite everything you do to prevent them?
No, I think the old saying that sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. I've always thought that that's a load of BS. I've always tried to not ignore the fact that it happened, but just try to deny it. I was always in denial, especially when I first met my current boyfriend. And I tried to be Miss Perfect, but those scars started to peek through. Um, and it was affecting my relationship with my current boyfriend because I kept pushing him away. I kept saying, no, you don't want to be with me. I'm not perfect. You don't want to be with me. I'm ugly. You don't want to be with me. I'm worthless. When people say, I've heard somebody say to me, when I did tell them this, they were like, well, at least he was only verbally abusive. He wasn't, it's not like he beat you every day. That doesn't matter. Just because he didn't beat me up every night doesn't mean that he still didn't cause damage just with what he was saying. I mean, I'm still getting over the fact that I had such an abusive relationship. It's something that I don't like to admit. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to change is that it's okay to admit that you weren't with Mr. Perfect or the perfect girl, but saying it to somebody else or saying it out loud makes it feel real. It's like, oh geez, I guess I did go through that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie when I say that college has made my mental health worse. When you take somebody who's mentally ill or suffers from depression or anxiety and you throw 18 credit classes at them or sorry, 18 credit semester at them with 400 level classes, papers due tonight. You have your shift this afternoon. You have a paper due with your group tomorrow morning. It starts to get way overwhelming. And in my journey, I tried to get an appointment with the college because it was free. Because that's another problem is that, we all desperately need help, but I don't know about you. I can't afford to see a therapist no matter how desperate I need one. The problem with the school is that they have like 2 or 3 counselors per 1,000 students. So ultimately, on the day of my appointment with her, she canceled. Uh, no reason was specified other than they would reach out and do a new appointment with me. That was about a year and a half ago, and I'm still waiting for that new appointment. I don't know how seriously the college takes mental health. I don't think giving a day off or a couple days off here and there throughout the semester is going to help anything. I mean, sure, it might get us out of class, but it's not helping my mental health any. It's not making me less sad. It's not making me less anxious.
This freaking polar bear has been jumping around the whole time. Kind of hard to keep him in frame, but I think I've done a good job. We'll see.
That can't be my character then, because I don't have that much energy.
Too bad, you're stuck with it now. Oh, that's a little baby polar bear. Oh, big cat. Gotten smaller, we're gonna push him off.
Oh no.
Alright, we can keep him, but we're gonna have to spawn a big one too. What do you suggest to people that are just going through it right now?
To keep going through it. You know, giving up isn't an option. You may think right now that things aren't going to get better and that this is your life now. It's not. Things will get better, and it may be hard to hear something like that now. It may be kind of offensive to hear that life is going to get better. I certainly felt that way when I was in the thick of it and somebody told me things will get better. You just kind of smile and nod and yeah, you're right, but you don't really believe it. And I'm hoping if anybody takes anything away from listening to this, that they will hear me out when I say that things will get better. As long as you listen to yourself and pay attention to what it is that your body needs, what your mind needs, you will start to reap the benefits. Life has a weird way of working itself out, and you'll get there. Whether it's sooner, whether it's later, you will get there. It's just important to never give up.